All right, welcome, guys. No Slaw, the morning show. Dude, shout out to people that are on immediately. Like sometimes when I start a show, it'll be like zero. It'll tell me the numbers. It'll tell me zero. The 5 or 10 people that get in like first thing, you guys are the real ones that help keep the lights on around here. Not that there's anything wrong with joining late. I know YouTube promotes it better later. I know that a lot of people watch on the replay because it's 9 a.m. and people might have meetings. Does anybody have meetings this early? Shout out to the people that have to do meetings this early. You guys remember when we did, let my face off a little bit. Remember when we did spaces and Josh would just go through all of the shout outs? I don't know that I'll ever do that as insane as he did, but shout out to the people that have 8 a.m. meetings or 9 a.m. I guess it's 9 Eastern, 8 Central, but shout out to the people that have a meeting. Yeah, I know some people that have meetings every day at this time. And I just be like, dude, that's overkill. I don't know what they do on these meetings this early. This is not why anybody tuned in. I get it, but we'll let some people filter in. But when I had a job, when I wasn't unemployed, sometimes we have meetings every morning. They'd be making us do dumb stuff. Everybody think about your day, manifest your day. Sit here and breathe quietly for a minute. Just too much. All right. Game week, Virginia. I just had a rant, I guess, to start. Game week, Virginia game on Friday. We'll throw a call-in link in the comments. In fact, I'll do that right now. Speaking of meetings, yeah, Harlan's on a meeting. Harlan with a 9 a.m. What are we doing with these meetings? But I don't think his is not every day. It's the people that have the meetings every day that I'm just like, yeah, that sucks that you have to do that every day. But shout out to the people that are on a meeting right now and watching this. That's the real shout out. I hope my buddy calls in. I hope Matthew calls in from school again today. We need to get that done. There's a call-in link available. People are more than welcome to call in. I just threw it in the comments. It's also in the description. We can talk about the UVA game. We can talk about it looked like good news on the depth chart. Looked like some good updates there with Kevin Wynn making his first appearance, Randy Pittman coming back. I would expect that Squirrel plays this week as well, but we'll see how the week goes with that. We talk about the depth chart. We can answer questions. We can talk about anything you guys want to today. I do kind of structure a little bit of an outline, but I try and keep these pretty open for whatever you guys want to talk about. I do see somebody down there. I don't think that is Harlan. So Hunt, I didn't even see you down there. I will give some love here shortly to Halo. Appreciate their support, and then Sleeper later on. But let me see if I can add Hunt and then get him in here. Hunt, can you hear me?
Yeah, what's going on, baby?
3-0, man. How are you doing?
Oh, I am so excited. I had no idea we would be this good.
Yeah, same. So you know what's funny is I was talking to somebody else the other day. We'd have won that, like we'd have won Saturday, whether we were good or not this year. But we'd have won like 31-14 or something stupid. And then the week before, maybe like 41-21 or something like that. It's just like it does feel a little bit better that they're playing the way that they should.
Oh yeah. The big thing for me is I just want to remind everybody what where we came from, okay? So, just a quick reminder. I've been a Florida State fan since 1987, my whole life. I've got a wife, 15 years, 3 kids. I've been to 3 national title games. Been to the big time games like ACC title a couple of years ago. Brought my son. I was down at the Alabama game this year. And what I want to remind people is that Mike Norvell is the real deal. And, you got to remember Bowden struggled later in his career. Hired Jeff Bowden, nepotism, bad idea. They started tanking. Jimbo takes over, leads them to the promised land, gets in a spat, takes the cash grab, throws the Christmas tree on the lawn. We all remember that. And then they hire Slick Willie. And lethal. We got lethal simplicity. Okay, we got lethal simplicity, and So then, Mike Norvell comes in and inherits an absolute diaper fire of a program that Willie Taggart left, and it's COVID. And guy barely gets a break. Starts winning games. All of a sudden, we're 10-3. Then we go 12-0. We have the snub of the century. And people got deflated. And we can talk. I kind of have an idea of what happened. I know people y'all have talked about a lot, but I think really came down to lack of player leadership. Well, he goes in there. He does what he needs to do. He gets rid of the coordinators. I don't think it was really Adam Fuller that was the problem so much as Atkins and Mike still calling the plays. And, Fuller, I watched him against Louisville. He played one of the best defensive performances I've ever seen. But I think they've upgraded with Tony White. Anyways, he makes the hard decisions that people like Billy Napier weren't willing to do. And here he is 3-0, puts belt to ass against Alabama. We just blew out cupcakes like it was 2013, like Idaho. Remember them?
Yeah.
And back in the day, in the '99 with Chris Winkie, and people are still like, "Oh, I'm not sure." I mean, is he the guy? Well, that's the guy that Alabama wanted, and a lot of people in tight circles know that he was the first pick, and he turned them down. Number one, he's loyal to Florida State. Number two, he took a pay cut. He took a pay cut to what, 4 million? And so he puts his money where his mouth is. He's not Dabo running his mouth at 10 million a year, going on about how, we've won this and won that. He shut up, he humbled himself. He put his money where his mouth is. And here he is, went and hired two guys, and I mean, they're in the driver's seat. I just want to remind everyone that.
Dude, I'll tell you, it takes a lot for these coaches to. These are prideful guys, right? And it takes a lot because I mean, you would be. I mean, we all are, right? Like, there's pride to an extent that everybody has, especially if you're like the most important person on the campus of a major university. And there's a lot of pride in that. Like, yeah, I mean, Mario's a prideful guy. Kirby's a prideful guy. Dan Lanning's a prideful guy. But like, yes, you're exactly right. The ability to put your pride aside and make changes that I don't want to say minimize your role, but just very much shift your role to where you are no longer the offensive guru. You are no longer the one that's responsible for the points that are put up on the board. But by shifting that to somebody else, not only can that really let your offense excel, but what can you do in other roles, right? Player retention and NIL. And man, the defensive players have talked about, man, he's never been around us this much because he's always been so focused on the offense. So what impact does that have on your whole team for you to be really more involved with everything by being that CEO? That's a really hard thing for people to do. I mean, you mentioned Napier. Napier was unwilling to do that. And look at the mess that his team is in right now. Look at they've got I think they have a top 10 defense in the country, and their offense is like bottom 10, which he is solely responsible for. And so like, I mean, it's a massive credit to Norvell. And you not only have to do it, but it has to work too. Like, he could have hired some loser, right? Like guy that, imagine like hiring Gus Malzahn. I mean, I wasn't really a believer in that when it happened. I remember the news broke while we were out tailgating for the Florida game last year that he was going to be the next coach. And I just kind of was like, I mean, I was obviously in such a bad mood from the season, but I was like, dude, I don't know if that's going to work. I mean, I hope it does, right? Like, I want to not be miserable through the fall. And so far, I'm having a pretty good fall, and I think it's just going to get better. But it's got to work too, right? Like, it's not just like, oh, you just made a hire, so it's automatically going to work. Like, people make bad hires all the time. And so, yeah, I mean, it's a huge credit to him, to not only get somebody in here, but get the right people in here, offense and defense, not just Gus. But yeah, man, I'm with you.
Yeah, and he changed the culture from being really good in 23 to like this terrible, mercenaries for hire culture that they had, where, Patrick Payton and some of these guys that were supposed to be good and just tanked because they gave up, and Marvin Jones Jr., bless his father, but he didn't really pan out. And, and we used to have Braden Fisk and Jared Verse and Jordan Travis, and we had leaders, and then we lost them all, and we got brought in Ukulele, and he was terrible, and it's because he wasn't a good leader. He wasn't a bad quarterback at wherever he was before, Washington State or whatever, Oregon State, whatever it was. But he just didn't have the leadership that Castellanos has. So
Yeah.
then you bring in a guy like that, and then he puts his money where his mouth is, not because he's prideful, but because he knew he wanted to get his guys riled up to to get around winning and believe again, and that's exactly what they did. So I think that the program is heading in the right direction. Um, yeah, we could lose a couple more games. Sure, it doesn't look like we're going to lose much more. Like maybe we could lose to Miami or maybe in the ACC title, but I think we're this year at least we're done losing games we should win. NC State on a Friday night's kind of sneaky. I mean, there's some sneaky games, but ultimately I've seen enough to go, okay, we got to beat Miami. We got to beat Miami. I know Virginia. Everyone wants to talk about Virginia. Virginia hadn't played anybody. Okay, they haven't played. Uh, NC State isn't that good. Number one, and that was oddly a non-conference game. I don't know if you know that. It was an extra game because they're so worthless they can't find another good opponent. That was actually a non-conference game that doesn't count. NC State's not bad. Virginia's not bad, but they're not. They've played two cupcake teams in NC State, and everyone talks about how they're the greatest offense and they're sneaky. I'm not that worried about them. Um, I'm more worried about like an injury or something like that. But I think we don't want to look ahead. We don't want to get sloppy. But I think we'll take care of business, and then we'll know. Okay, this team cannot just win on at home; they can win on the road, and I'll feel a lot better against Miami.
Yeah, you just got to focus on. I mean, for yeah, it's always funny to me when people are like, "Oh, well, you got to focus." I mean, I don't have to focus on Virginia. I'm not playing this weekend. I can think about whatever I want, but yeah, I need the team to be completely locked in because you can't. There's so much hype around the season and so much hype around what might be a game day matchup and all this other stuff. But you just got to go out and win on Friday night. I don't care if it's by 1 point or 100 points. You just got to go find a way to win, and they should. They're the better team, right? And so it's weird being on the road. It's weird playing on a Friday night. It's a short week. But you've gotten a lot of rest these last 3 weeks, really. You think about it like, past Bama, you've gotten a lot of backups in and you've not had to put a lot of tread on the tire. Somebody asked me, hey, why do you think Chroma didn't play a lot on Saturday? I don't have any kind of information there. Or I don't know if there's any ding. But man, you've got him really fresh and available for this weekend. And really everybody should be pretty fresh and available, even though it is a short week. It worked out fairly well with the teams you had before. So Hunt, I appreciate you, my man.
Yeah, man. I'll be back at some point. Love your work. Been watching for years. Love Richie. You got to give him a shout out too. You guys are awesome, and love to be back on. But bless you. Have a good week. I'm gonna keep watching.
Awesome. Appreciate you, buddy. Go Knowles.
Who knows?
Hunt is in, if I remember correctly, I believe he's in South Carolina. So appreciate. I hopefully see him up there for that Clemson game. Not sure who all is going to the Clemson game or not. I'm going to be, listen, I didn't even tell Hunt this while he was on, but I'm going to be in South Carolina this week. So, yeah, heading up to Virginia, by way of South Carolina here in a couple of days. I see a lot I asked you guys where you are. Yeah. If you're watching this and you didn't see the comment, I was wondering where people are watching from. Literally the next 3 comments. Well, Mike's in there too. Mike in Tallahassee, but, shout out the Tennessee listeners, Laverne, Tennessee, McMinnville, Tennessee, Knoxville, Tennessee. Shout out to, we do really well in Tennessee. I like to do really well in Tennessee. I haven't been in Tennessee. Well, I guess I was there last year quickly, but it's about time to schedule another Nashville trip. Let me give Halo some love really quickly. I can't even remember I think I made a Halo one, but I honestly can't remember. So if you can find one, then great. If not, we'll have one made for next week. But hey, drinkhalo.com, morning show powered by them, a low calorie, no hangover option for you. It's alcohol free, but it is THC infused. So if you want a little bit of a different experience, they offer discreet shipping. They will get it to you quickly and you will enjoy the product. They've got both a lemonade and a tea flavor like I told you last week, the trick is to mix those. But go check out drinkhalo.com. They will be out with us at the Miami game. Again, put tickets on sale yesterday for the tailgate. So go check that out. It's fsumiami.eventbrite.com. If you want to come try some of their stuff in person before you buy it online, you certainly are welcome to come do that. Those guys' arms were about to fall off with how many drinks they were pouring for that Bama game, but very different than your typical tailgate drink. And you might be surprised. You might enjoy it even more. So appreciate Drink Halo for their support. There is a call-in link down below. You guys are more than welcome to jump in and chat at any time. But yeah, let's talk about this depth chart just a little bit. Kevin Wynn coming back. And I would imagine that Mike Norvell, I know that he coaches at times play games with depth charts. I think we probably say Mike does more often than he really, like we probably say that he does more often than he really does. I don't think he would put Wynn on the depth chart this week if there wasn't a legitimate possibility of him playing. I think Wynn is back faster than what I originally was kind of expecting and was told, if and when he would be back and all that stuff. So I think having him and getting him any kind of reps this weekend, if he's as close to 100% as possible, would be huge to have for kind of this run that's coming up. And obviously the big one being Miami, but you play Pitt right after that, which is a very physical team. You're much better than Pitt. You play them at home. There'd really be no excuse to lose that, but having Wynn back for that is massive. And then having Randy Pittman back is big too. I was told before the season that Randy Pittman was going to need something done, some kind of procedure. It was on his knee, but then he was going to try and gut it out through the Bama game, and he did. Did he have any catches in that Bama game? Alabama, FSU stats. Did gut it out through that Bama game. I think Florida State was glad that he played, and his recovery has actually been pretty good. Yeah, 2 catches for 18 yards, along of 14. So he got in there. Yeah, I thought one of them was a first down. So was glad to have Randy Pittman back on there this week. I would anticipate. Listen, I really like Squirrel White, and I hope he does play. I think I don't even know what the right word is. Just the way that Mekhi Danzy has played so far and Boggs, I'm a lot more confident in this wide receiver room than I was before, going into the season. So I would love if Squirrel played. I think he helps you. If he's not 100%, it might be limited reps unless you really feel like you need him, because I really like where Boggs is at, and I really like what you saw to Mekhi Danzy last week. Virginia's defense is also terrible. Clay Finkel dropped hopefully you guys are checking these out. I don't know how many of you guys are really into the film breakdown and stuff. Clay was at Knowles 24/7 and has been doing film reviews for us. He's going to do one kind of previewing UVA, a shorter one, maybe 20, 25 minutes of just some of the concepts that they run, some of the ways that he thinks Florida State will try to attack them offensively and defensively. Their offense has been pretty good. Defense is atrocious. I think Florida State could have a lot of success if it's not just kind of like one of those weird Friday night games that ends 14-10 or something. But hopefully you guys will enjoy that. I have enjoyed Clay doing those so far, and I've enjoyed watching them. So if you guys aren't, then time to get on the stick. Clay also is a fan. He goes to Florida State. He wants Florida State to do well. So it's not like your average one where they're just breaking down plays. He'll make jokes and stuff like that and laugh at the other team, everything else too. So check those out for sure. All right. This might be my favorite caller, Matthew. Is Matthew in?
What's up?
Bro, are you skipping school?
No, so today's a Jewish holiday, and down here in Palm Beach County, we have a high Jewish population, so we don't have school today.
Bro, I love the way that your school schedule basically coincides with the recording schedule. You got a test one week, you were switching classes the next week. Holiday, shout out the Jewish holiday, shout out Newberg and all of the tribe. I love how it works out well. So, how you doing, man?
Good. I know some people might not like this, but I'm very glad Miami won on Saturday. I was rooting for Miami. I was hoping that they were going to win because I needed Miami to be undefeated. Because even if Florida won, Florida is still going to lose many more games. Miami may or may not. Or at least it doesn't really matter if they win or lose games after the FSU game. But I'm very glad Miami won. I was rooting for them. So
I'm not going as
with
far as you as to say I was rooting for them, but it was funnier to me to watch Florida just implode.
yeah.
And
Well,
yes, I
I
agree.
need them to win. That's so we have a Doke undefeated matchup. But I've
Yeah,
been here. Is Tommy Castellanos injured or what's up with him?
yeah, good question. I mean, he definitely got banged up and he was limping off in that Kent State game. The way he ran back out in full pads and was dancing on the sideline and just was moving fairly well. I think they're ultra cautious. And Mike even mentioned, like, well, kind of take it day by day and see where he is. I'll tell you, I would be absolutely floored if he doesn't take the first snap against UVA. Now, does that somewhat limit him? Do they not run quite as much? Do they just shoot his ankle up with something beforehand? I mean, maybe tape it up real good, all those things. But yeah, I think he is a little bit banged up. I don't think it's anything that is going to keep him from playing. I at this point, I would be pretty shocked by that. And maybe that's just me not wanting to face reality. I don't know, but I would be surprised.
As long as he's fully healthy for Miami, I'm okay if he like doesn't play parts of Virginia. Because as long as you have like a comfortable lead by like halftime, maybe, we gotta take him out, keep him as healthy as possible for Miami.
Yeah, and I think they'll try to. I mean, Virginia's terrible and gave up like 220 rushing yards to NC State, which I don't think NC State is great. I would be surprised if Florida State didn't try to just pound the rock like crazy on Friday night and limit the amount of times that he has to do something spectacular with his legs. So I think Florida State will be smart about it.
And then for the Miami FSU games, that's where all of our not the players' minds, but all of the fans' minds are looking at right now because Miami has a bye week. For that game, I feel like Miami does have the better defense, but I feel like FSU has, again, with a healthy Tommy Castellanos, has the better offense. And I feel like as long as Tommy Castellanos is fully healthy, we have a pretty good shot at beating Miami.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think Miami's defense is really, really good. Their secondary is maybe a little bit suspect. I don't think they're elite by any means. Their defensive line might be the best in the country. And I hate to give Miami
Yeah,
credit, but like we try to keep it real here. Their defensive line is very, very good. I think their offensive line is pretty good too. And so it'll be it will absolutely be a tough test. I mean, just like Alabama was. I mean, I know that we played really well and we pushed them around in the trenches. It would surprise me if Florida State pushes Miami around in the trenches because they're really good.
oh yeah,
But I like Florida State's secondary more than I like Miami's wide receivers. I like Florida State's wide
yeah,
receivers more than I like their secondary, and I like Florida State's run game, but their defensive line is really good. So it'll be a battle. Like I'm not sitting out here saying, oh, because we beat Bama handily, we're going to just automatically beat Miami. I think it'll be tough. And I think, when the line comes out, it'll be a 3-point spread either way. Like it's not going to be, oh, one team's going to crush the other one. I think it'll be a really tough battle. And those are the kind of games if I'd have told you, man, going into in the offseason, hey, the Miami game is going to be a coin flip, you'd probably taken it, because we all were down on the team. But yeah, it'll be tough, but they're really good. They've been really impressive this year. They certainly have weaknesses. I like Tommy a little bit more than I like Carson Beck as kind of a
yeah.
quarterback. So we'll see.
And then one last thing, this wide receiver room, I feel it's one of the best wide receiver rooms we've had in a while. Like the big three of Deuce Robinson, Squirrel White, and Makai Dansley. I feel like that's probably better than the Keon Johnny Wilson one. And I think you have to go back to find something better. But I feel like our wide receivers are just so good that they'll be able to run over Miami.
Yeah, I think the Johnny Keon one probably had more star talent, like at the top.
Yeah.
And Keon went what? Like he was a 33rd pick. And then Johnny went
Yeah, the
in the
first pick of
fourth
the
round.
second round.
Johnny went the 4th round, right? And so yeah, but on like depth wise, I mean, and Deuce is elite, elite. He's very good. I don't know if I want to say elite just yet, but he's really freaking good. And the questions around, I mean, you knew his talent was there. There just wasn't a ton of production. His production has been really, really good. And you'd like to obviously see that continue as as it goes on. I saw a comment about Pokey. Pokey was the 22 year. I don't think he played with Keon. But then you add in Danzy and you add in Boggs and you add in everything else. I do really like their I like their wide receiver room a ton. So yeah, the talent there, it was a big question mark for me. Just because Squirrel was coming off an injury, Deuce hadn't put up actual production yet. You just knew the talent was there. I didn't expect anything out of Danzy. I wasn't sure how much of a baller Javon Boggs would be as a true freshman. Yeah, I love the wide receiver room.
I'm going now, so thanks for having me.
Thanks, Matthew.
Bye.
Call-in link is available there. Appreciate Matthew. Appreciate Hunt. If anybody else wants to get in before we get out of here, you are more than welcome to. I will just quickly say we play the more or less game over on Sleeper every Wednesday night. We will pick that tomorrow night. So make sure you're using our code DFNS to get a 100% deposit match up to $100. Appreciate Sleeper for their support. Go check out their terms of use for more details. The picks are not available yet as I'm looking right now, but it is a good time to go download the app, get it set up, do a deposit, get your match, and then it'll be ready by the. Oh, no, I lied. Some of the picks are ready. Gavin Sawchuk, anytime touchdown. Mekhi Danzy, anytime touchdown. Tommy Castellanos, 1.5 passing touchdowns, more or less. Deuce Robinson, Squirrel White, Javon Boggs. Pittman's got 15.5 yards, and then they've got a bunch for UVA too. So actually there is a bunch there. We're not picking them yet, though. That game is in 3 days, 9 hours, and 29 minutes. I like the countdown feature on this. That's pretty cool. Dude, you can see, I'm a big fan of that. You can literally so people have voted on who wins. Florida State, 90.4%. I don't even know if you guys will be able to see this or not, but yeah, there it is. It focused. So shout out the Sleeper app. Appreciate them for their support. Good question here on Roydell. Nothing there. And I haven't even really checked. The running back room is deeper than I thought. Listen, I had doubts about the running back room. Okay, I had doubts about a lot of things about this team. They won 2 games last year. I'll just own that. But the running back room is deeper than I thought it would be. And I've loved watching really everyone run. Even Roydell had the big one on 4th down, right? That against Bama that kind of sealed it. But I think Sawchuk's kind of your bell cow. Chroma is going to be elite here. And then Sam Singleton. It was nice to see Cam Davis get a little bit of burn this weekend and get some juice. Hopefully that can kind of get him going and they can get even deeper there. But I honestly haven't even asked about Roydell just because that room is so deep and I've kind of used up all my favors on other things and things like that. So let's go through some of your comments and see what else is going on here. We might have another caller there. Harlan, can you flip us back? Uh-oh. I put Harlan on the spot. See how that worked. Usually I let the caller sit there for a minute, but this one I wanted to get to faster. So, Ashley.
Yeah.
How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. You might be our first female caller. Harlan, you might need to fact check that and go back in the archives and listen, but we don't discriminate for sure. But
I'm honored.
we're honored that you're here.
So, I know we have Virginia and yada, 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 whatever, but I'm super excited about Miami. My question is, are you concerned at all that Alabama was just a one-off and we just, did really good then and then Miami is going to be a letdown?
I think I would have been more concerned about that had Florida State not played so well the last 2 weeks. And I know the opponents were freaking terrible, but they played, remember in 2021, they played Notre Dame really well. And I know they didn't win that game, but they played Notre Dame well. They were a 3-score dog. They took that game to overtime. And then they had a complete letdown against Jacksonville State the next week. And they lost that game. And Jacksonville State's much better than Kent State or East Texas A&M. There's no doubt. But just the way that they were able to dominate those two teams. For comparison, SMU only beat East Texas A&M by 30 points, and we beat them by 70. And then Kent State played Texas Tech much closer than we played them. So I do think that the way that the team has continued to dominate, and they dominated that Alabama game, even though they only won by 14. They dominated the Alabama game, and then they dominated and they took care of bad opponents the way they were supposed to. So I think it's less likely that that was a fluke. Now, I do think Bama played a poor game, and I think they'll be much better throughout the year. But I don't think it was as much of a fluke. And maybe I get proven wrong on this. Maybe they go up and blow it this weekend or blow it against Miami, whatever. But yeah, I'm not. I do think they'll play really well against Virginia. I think they'll play really well against Miami. And I mean, my goal is, I've said, I don't know if you've heard this or not, but a couple of times on here, my goal is to be at that Alabama-Georgia game. And I find it really tough to go to another game and really care, like root for a team. But I would prefer that Bama wins that, because then it makes me feel like it was less of a fluke. So unless I can find a reason to come home early, I want to be there and go to that game. And so I might have to find some Clemson or something. Is Garnett close enough to Clemson for me to get away with that? But no, I don't think it was a fluke, but hopefully I'm not wrong on that. I've been wrong a lot lately.
Also, I just want to let Richie know that Dalvin Cook is not the best running back for state history, and it is not only old people who disagree with that.
I'm glad that some of us young folks think the same thing. I'm not going to give my opinion on this, but I will let Richie be corrected. Your service is going crazy, but thank you for calling in.
All right, bye.
Harlan, I do think that was our first female caller that we've ever had. So again, I don't know if you can really go check that or not by listening to every episode that we've ever had, but shout out to Ashley for calling in. What else do we have? That might be about it. FSU beat Alabama by 14. Yeah, they absolutely dominated them. Do you think game day will be in Tallahassee? I do think so. It's not like he's Dalvin Cook. I didn't say that he'd be Dalvin Cook. I do think he'll be elite. Alabama's defensive line is better. I don't know, man. I go back and forth there. I think Ruben Bain is the best. Ruben Bain's the best player in the country right now through 4 weeks. I hate to admit that. I wish we'd have gotten him, but I think he's really good. Can you talk about the tailgate for those that don't go into the game? Sure. We have a tailgate graphic I'll even throw up real quick. Harlan, I was faster than you on this one. We will have a tailgate out there for Miami. There will be a TV. There were people that did not go in the game last time, and they hung around the tailgate, continuing to eat Guthrie's chicken and drink all of our drinks during the game. You are more than welcome to come hang out at the tailgate and watch the game from there, if that be your preference. We'd love for you to get in, but if you need a place up next to Doak Campbell Stadium where you can hear the crowd roar and then you can see the TV with whatever play they're roaring about, you are more than welcome to come hang out. There is a Patreon discount. These tickets are $40 each for all you can eat, all you can drink, shade, TV, all the things. Obviously, the space is ridiculously expensive, and so we kind of just break even on this. There is a Patreon discount for $3 a month. If you're signed up as a Patreon, you can get in for half the price. So $20 to come hang out. We would love to see you out there for that. Let me look through the comments just real quick. I appreciate those that have been active in there, and I will try to. Okay. Rhino, sorry. I was like, all right, man, I didn't say he was Dalvin. I was like, don't accuse me of saying that he was Dalvin, but I see it was somebody else now. It's hard to do this. Alabama beat Georgia. Isn't it a 3-point spread? I feel like that could happen. I hope they do too. I need that. I need that in my life. Miami's defensive tackles are suspect, and so is their secondary. I would agree with that. But their edge rushers scare the living crap out of me. And that has nothing to do with Florida State's offensive line, which has been much better than I thought it would be. Their edge rushers are just really elite, both Mesidor and Bain. All right. That's all the time we got for today. 9:37. We went a little bit over half an hour. We will be back on Wednesday night. Listen, I did a video after the Alabama game, and I called out a bunch of people that picked Alabama to win. But Trey says I owe him a tailgate. Dude, hit me up. Hit me up on social media. Send me a DM or an email or something. TJ@doublefriesnoslaw.com, Trey. Let me know. I wonder what game was it? No Guthries and no me. Most people don't complain about me not being there. They complain about the Guthrie, maybe if the Guthries runs out. But so I did a video after that one was fun. Harlan and I worked on a video last night. I'm telling you, it's my favorite video that we've done since then. So we rail on ESPN a little bit. So it's fun. It'll be a good time. It should come out about noon today. So make sure you're subscribed and you don't miss that. Be watching your phone. Listen, your work is not that important today. Be watching your phones around noon when that comes out and go check it out. If you're subscribed and you have the alerts on, which I don't really tell people to put the alerts on because I get too many spam emails anyway. So I don't really want YouTube emailing me a million times. So I don't blame you if you don't have the alerts on. But if you're subscribed, you'll see it. Noon Eastern, that'll come out. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Appreciate Halo. Appreciate Sleeper. All the people that support. Go check out patreon.com/DFNS so you can get cheaper tailgate tickets. We will talk to you guys soon. Go Noles.